you, Dana?
You're greeting.
Good.
Wondering why.
The time is 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the agenda. I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Block, will you please lead us? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The little voice. No.
Informational reports. We'll start with Dr. J.
All right, Madam President, member of the board, and guests. Excited to be here tonight with all of our Falcon Awards. I truly enjoy those days, so we'll be getting to you in a minute. Just a couple of, I guess, updates. So we had our first Monday off after a break, and students, I think you like that, having one more day to sleep. Our staff loved it, so I went around to every site. I talked to staff members, and they truly, truly enjoyed having a day to just not only get caught up and prepare for the next part of the year, but they enjoyed not having to worry about it over break. So it was, I think, a win-win for everybody. So we have another Monday off after the winter break and another Monday off after spring break. So 3 times throughout. So hopefully parents, you love that too, having a day to get back into things before school starts. I attended the Beyond Textbooks conference in Flagstaff. It was a one-day conference. It was called a data dig, and it was really, really awesome to see. Their assistant superintendent ran it, and it was just great to see how much detail they go into looking at data, like how deep they dive into it. And took a bunch of notes, and all of our principals are going to be doing some dives later this month in preparation for the rest of the year. So it was really, really good to go to that. It was a good time. And I want to say that one of the principals there went to Fountain Hills Schools from another, he was from Parker. So he went here years ago, so it was really cool to see that. We're about ready at the high school to start a new term that's coming up soon. And one of the things that we added this year is our ACT prep classes. So I don't know of anybody who does this. We're very excited about this new idea. So all of our freshmen and juniors will be taking ACT prep courses for 60 days in preparation for the ACT Aspire, which is the freshman test, and the ACT, the junior test. So we'll give you an update on how that goes, but we're excited about that new class. High school beautification has begun. And we worked over the break, and we painted the B and the K hallways, so those are all fresh. And we added some new logos in there. We have more to do. It's just that it takes me a while to get them straight, and I have to find time to go do those, but there's a couple up in the hallways. Todd Harris, I don't see Todd here tonight, but Todd is still painting from April. And he did all of the trim in both hallways, and we went with black trim on all the doors, all the railings, and it looks really, really nice in there. Next will be L and C buildings. We'll get hallways next. And the gym bathrooms, I'm very happy to share. The gym bathrooms for our guests, after years and years of questions about it, they are updated. They look beautiful. So I highly recommend you use them next time you come watch the Falcons, all right? It is awesome. So those were done over the break as well. And then lastly, we've been working with starting the process of doing some marketing videos for the upcoming enrollment season. And we're going to, by the time we start doing our big push for enrollment, we should have a video for each site on our website, and we can share out on social media, and then smaller stories that capture some alumni, capture some of our signature programs, and some of the things that make Fountain Hills unique. So those are some things that we've been working on. Thank you.
anyone have any questions or comments regarding Dr. J's comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to governing board reports. We'll start with Ms. Reed.
I don't have much to report, but I love all that I heard from you. That's great. And then I wanted to say I loved hearing all those little voices say the pledge. You guys did great. Thanks for being here tonight.
Mrs. Settle?
I have nothing to report.
Mrs. Acker?
On Monday, I attended the Maricopa County School Board Association meeting. We voted on a new co-director, and the 3 people that were running spoke. So one got elected. She was already on the board, and it was very interesting. They did feed us. That I found really interesting, which I will know next time when I go. And they went through some of the different things that were happening, not politically, but with laws, and everything seems to be just fine. I said there was only one thing, and he didn't even bring it up this time, saying that there was only one thing that was coming due, and they were going to discuss it in the December meeting. But other than that, he didn't even mention that, so everything seems to be going okay. They're working on redoing the logo and branding and putting the website so it's a lot easier to use.
Thank you. Mr. Sarr?
Oh, good.
Yep, and I don't have anything. I'll just say that I hope everyone had a good fall break and welcome back. Okay, next up is our district celebrations with Falcon of the Month, and we will start with McDowell Mountain.
Good evening. Are we on? Hello.
No, you're
There's
not
a
on.
little button on the front of it.
Thank you. Good evening. Excited to bring back the Falcons of the Month. This is the first time McDowell Mountain has been up since we share that with the preschool now. I believe they presented last month. So I have 2 Falcons I'd like to recognize this evening. First, we'll start with a staff member, Bob Gustafson. He could not be here tonight, but I still like to read why Bob was chosen. Bob has been a great addition to the MMES team. His hard work and attention to detail has not gone unnoticed as we opened up the new McDowell Mountain. If I had $1 for every time I've heard, "Where's Bob?" or "I need Bob," I could retire as a wealthy man tomorrow. He's been that important, getting things delivered and just getting things done so that we could start the year or the first few weeks so the teachers could get their instruction going. Bob also got surprised a few weeks into school when I handed him a stop sign and a fluorescent vest and asked him to be our crossing guard in, quote, "a week or 2, I told him. 9 weeks later, you can still find Bob at the corner of Glenbrook and Fountain Hills Boulevard, donning that fluorescent jacket and stop sign. I have asked him to do a couple dances in the middle of the road, but he has respectfully declined. Again, I want to highlight how big of a team player Bob is. He never once complained when I asked him to be the crossing guard. He's done it for 9 weeks. Hopefully we can get him off there, but for right now there's no end in sight. But I just want to highlight how big of a team player Bob has been. So thank you, Bob, for all your hard work and being a team player. Bob Gustafson. Our student Falcon of the Month is kindergartner Mark Anthony Moraga, and this is what his teacher, Miss Sophie Doran, wrote about Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony makes every day in my class such a joy. He approaches everything we do with such joy and excitement and is always willing to include all of his classmates. Everyone is his friend. Mark Anthony reminds me what it truly means to persevere, try your best, and that every day is a new day. I feel so privileged to have been his teacher and look forward to seeing what he will learn this year as I continue to learn from him. We are so happy to have you with us, Mark. I love you, Miss Sophie Doran. Mark Anthony Moraga. Mark Anthony, come on up. Next up, I believe Dr. Wheeldryer and the middle school.
Okay, it's always a tough act to follow. Okay. Hello, everyone. I had an awesome break. Good. I'm ready to go. Always, actually, I'm always ready to go. Yes, I am. Okay, so I get the wonderful privilege of honoring some awesome people since I've started here at Fountain Hills Unified School District and getting the opportunity to meet awesome teachers and get to know all about them. This one stands out above the rest, and that is Amanda Baca. Yes. As a former athlete myself, a coach, I'm so jealous that she still gets to coach. But then again, I still think I'm still a coach, but as an instructional coach. But she gets to do all the fun stuff and sweat and exercise. So we say that she's the coach of all sports. She's a longtime Fountain Hills Middle School employee. She is loved and respected by her students and staff and parents. She keeps a tight and well-organized calendar, and she manages classes for both the high school and the middle school PE. She holds regular club meetings, coaches before and after school, and attends a demanding game schedule. Ms. Baca executes what she teaches. She's a model team player here at the middle school. She sees a need and presents a solution. So thank you for that. I don't have to always think. Most recently, she stepped up and to oversee our middle school yearbook since we didn't have anybody. So Ms. Baca kindly stepped up and is taking this on to the next level by creating an elective class. She will be our sponsor for our very active Stugo Club as well, and she's very enthusiastic to begin the yearbook class during the second trimester. We're also very excited we have a yearbook email. Yeah, we're getting so fancy. Her work ethic is very much appreciated by all the staff at the middle school, and most certainly by Ms. Schultz, as the two have worked well together for several years. She is admired for holding students accountable. Thank you for that. She has high expectations and requires students to be a student first and an athlete second. Ms. Baca, you're a gem. You get this awesome coin. I gotta double check myself before I wreck myself. That's what I always tell my students. He's like, yeah. So I get the opportunity to honor Javante McCorder. I had to double check the last name before I wrecked myself, right? So we have some awesome comments from a few of his teachers. Ms. Meekum is his high school algebra honors teacher, and she writes, Javante goes above and beyond his honors algebra. It is a high school level class, and he quickly grasps the concepts. He's always ready to help others understand. He participates readily in the class, and he pushes himself to excel. He has a neat sense of humor and is a great addition to the class. Also, Miss Beard, Javante is a perfect Falcon of the Month. He is responsible for students as he keeps excellent grades, cares about his education, he asks questions to better understand, and he works hard at learning. He is always respectful to his peers and to his staff. He is the first to offer help or assistance to a struggling student or peer, to pick up after themselves and to others, and to be kind. Miss McDonald, the science teacher, says, oh wow, Javante, he's a wonderful choice. He's an excellent student. He works hard in class, and he offers thoughtful and intelligent responses to observations. He shows natural leadership amongst his peers, and he has high expectations of himself and those around him. He is a scholar athlete as well. When Javante was in her 4th grade class, I always knew when he was in the room, as there were always a group of friends surrounding him, and there were always laughter and having a lively conversation. So let's all welcome Javante McQuarrie on this honor.
Now, did your Little League coach have anything to do with all the success you had?
Oh, definitely.
I just want to point that out, because I'm on Little League team, long time ago.
I didn't know that. Okay, all right, well, Mr. Hartman's up next.
Thank you. Evening, everyone. Last time I saw you, we were in a golf cart. Missed out, Mr. Sunday.
I was watching.
I did just text Bob Gustafson, who used to work at the high school, and I wasn't consulted when Kevin pilfered him. And I told him that he does not need to do crossing guard duty at the high school. We're awaiting his response on that. Okay. This is about our student who is not here, and I will explain why at the end. But Katie Dwyer is the epitome of a student ambassador for FHHS. She is always ready to help any student or staff member with anything that is asked of her. She continuously keeps a positive attitude in all endeavors and shows all the best qualities of a high school student. That's from Kim Garman. This is from Macy Anderson, her volleyball coach. Katie is a perfect example of a student athlete. She's responsible, prioritizing her classes while being an extraordinary volleyball player and co-captain of her team. She's a self-motivated student, never having to be asked to do the right thing. She takes initiative at any given opportunity and is always the first to ask what she can help with. And this is from Evelyn Wynn, our Dean and Athletic Director. Katie is an exceptional student and participates in extracurricular activities here at the high school. She's the definition of the Falcon Way, representing what it means to be respectful, responsible, safe, and kind. You will never catch Katie in a bad mood, and if she is, she's very good at faking it. You always know when you see Katie around campus, you will be greeted with a warm smile. Katie is highly deserving of this award as she spreads positivity wherever she goes. Katie's with her team before their big match tomorrow, team dinner, etc. So we will pass along our congratulations. Our faculty of the month. Gianna is such an asset to our school. She always has a smile on her face and remains positive no matter the situation. She does such an amazing job with her dance classes and the dance team that the dance concerts have become a must-see event here at the high school. Gianna is also an alumni of Fountain Hills High School and shows each day that she is a Falcon through and through. That's from Evelyn Wynn. This is from Lauren Lamar. I've had Mrs. Wilson since I was in the 7th grade. She always portrays a positive attitude, and you can tell she loves her job. I will definitely miss her and her classes once I graduate. Thank you for being part of my high school memories. Oh wait, I forgot your. I like to steal things.
Thank you.
Wednesday, Thursday, 25th and 26th, 7 p.m. at the high school.
All right, so we have one more. We have the district office, transportation, anyone who doesn't fall into a site. And tonight, we are honoring Chris Alexander. So, Chris' family's here. Did not know they were coming, so when they walked in, surprise was over. But thank you for coming tonight. So I always do mine from the heart. So Chris has been just amazing to work with. We've done a lot of work over the last year and a half, and none of this could have gotten done without his help. He has so many great ideas. His attention to detail. You saw all of his spreadsheets. I always talk about his spreadsheets. You guys saw those with his test scores. He runs so many things behind the scenes with data, assessment, consolidation, and just offers to take anything that comes up. Like he'll come in all the time and say, let me take this, you got other things to worry about, and then he just runs with it. He's been a great mentor to the principals, and he's very active on campus, and we're just very, very happy he's here. He does an amazing job. And children, you should be very proud of your daddy tonight, all right? All right, Chris, come on up. Kids, take that card from him, okay?
Okay, congratulations to all of our Falcons of the Month. Public comments, Krista? And I need the book as well.
Oh, it's
I don't
here.
have the- Oh. Well, Dana could still read it.
That's right.
Okay, call to the public. This is the time for the public to comment. Time limits may be allocated on public comment at the discretion of the board president for the board to efficiently complete its business. The board reserves the right to prohibit any comments made in a discourteous or threatening manner. Complaints about specific individuals, students, or personnel are discouraged. Personnel issues should be directed to the appropriate staff member or administrator per district policy. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. And tonight, we just have Mr. Lorenz. And you know the drill, you get 3 minutes.
Thank you, school board. Thank you, staff. Thank you, guests. Quick update on the Yes for FH students and the bond committee, pro-bond committee advisory committee that has been helping support your decision. We presented to 15 different groups. I want to compliment Dr. J. He knows how to stay in his lane and do the factual parts really well. And then if there's any questions outside of facts, usually somebody from our group will answer those or attempt to answer those. The other really cool thing that I've been excited about is we're now up to over 50 people that have volunteered their time to support this, from the advisory committee, all the way from putting those signs up so they legally do what Fountain Hills wants them to do, all the way to making sure somebody's monitoring social media. The other exciting thing that has really been nice is we've had over 80 donors to support this cause. With that cause, we've done the purchase of the signs. The second mailer will come out this week. We've done, I've got to think here, back up. We've printed brochures that support the facts and also things that tell the story in a manner that we think should be told. So all of that has been part of the gifts. They were from as low as $25 to $5,000. And the $5,000 one will not be a surprise to any of you. It was the local Realty Association for Fountain Hills, Scottsdale, Paradise Valley. They're very pro-school, and they're supporting all three of the initiatives that are going on in those different school districts. The final thing, I've only had a couple surprises. One of the biggest ones for me was that some of the people that think our taxes are too high obviously didn't compare them to Scottsdale and Mesa, our two adjoining school districts. So that was a shock to me because I kept thinking, well, okay, these people are saying our, this massive tax hike. And I think all of you have probably seen this by now, but the tax hike, if you sold all the bonds after they're passed, we still have less school tax than Scottsdale and Mesa, significantly less than Mesa, and quite a bit less than Scottsdale. So that's been a big surprise to me. And then the second thing is, all of you have worked hard to correct the 21-22 audit. When there was a different leadership here, and when you guys hired Dr. J to come in and help, I get surprised that people still want to drag that through because you guys have done a lot of hard work. The board, the staff, and it just surprises me. So to summarize, I'm very optimistic. We've got a real grassroots effort. We've tried to do the right things to support your decision and our school district. So thank you very much again for allowing me that honor to be part of that process.
Thank you for all you're doing. Okay, that's the only public comment. Action items, we have no action items.
You have one
Oh.
calendar.
Why is it not on my?
It's on the new one.
I'll pull it up in my thing. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'll pull it up. I must have printed this before. Okay, sorry. I think I printed the original board packet. Okay, so we have one action item, which is changing the school calendar to to accommodate the high school that no longer needs the half days for testing. Dr. J, do you want to discuss that?
Sure. Madam President, members of the board, guests, I'm going to turn this over to the Falcon of the Month here to explain that since he knows our calendars inside and out.
So yes, originally with the calendar, in previous years, we've always had to have at the end of each semester early release dates for the high school so they could do final exams. Given the school schedule change to lengthen each period to 70 minutes from roughly 55 minutes, there's no longer a need for that. So our students can actually do their exams at the end of each term without having that early release period. And frankly, when we calculated the instructional hours for the high school, if we keep those dates, we'll actually fall below the required amount of time instructionally for seniors. So it's pretty important that we put those back in. So it was a slight misstep on our part as the calendar committee when we put this together. And in talking with the high school, the last couple of weeks, we wanted to bring this to your attention and hopefully get this corrected so we're in line and in scope with the instructional hours for our students at the high school.
The only comment I'll make about that, I understand, and we certainly don't want to be below our academic hours. That's important. But families do make plans, dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, they leave for vacation, and they look at that calendar as far in advance as possible. So the only request that I have is that teachers be somewhat lenient for any student who already has plane tickets to go somewhere. Like, I don't want tests scheduled at the end of the day when the kids were supposed to be gone, and then all of a sudden, sixth period decides, hey, we're gonna have a test now, and I don't think that's fair to families that have already planned ahead.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we're gonna look at is, and Hartman and all of us will review as we get closer to that, but the idea should not be that they're all on one day, right? So we're gonna work through that like we've done in the past. And yes, we talked about being flexible already before this even came up, but especially with this, we will work through that. And it's like I said, there was a lot of moving parts last year, and it's just something that we kind of looked at after the fact. We're like, oh wait, that shouldn't have been there. So we apologize, but it is fortunately pretty easy to fix with the new schedule, and I don't see any concerns. And we can, in our PD sessions, talk to teachers about, especially this year being overly, flexible with the time.
Yeah, I just don't want to stress any family out because they planned their vacation, especially, you know, right before Christmas or at spring break. You know, I don't think that's fair.
And the dates that we're looking at, they actually don't butt up to any long-term breaks.
Right.
They're at the end of the term for the high school, so it's literally a weekend. So we may avoid that, we may have some instances of that, but certainly we will be flexible. if
Yep,
anything
that's all
is
I'm
up.
asking, is
Absolutely.
that if somebody's already looked at that calendar and made plans because they said, oh, there's no school at that time, that we take that into consideration. Are there other questions or comments regarding altering the schedule? Okay, hearing none, I move that we approve the changes to the yearly calendar.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now we'll move on to information discussion with the superintendent goals. So I'm going to let Dr. J go over his goals that you were all provided.
Yeah, Madam President, members of the board, yes, thank you for that. Thank you for providing guidance on these. I took our approved goals and just went through each of them and looked at things that I felt would help us reach those goals, put objectives down. This is my first run at it, so tonight if there's questions or things that you'd like me to consider, I can certainly take those questions. The only one I do want to just share on is number 4. And the reason I don't have any objectives there is I felt that the goal itself kind of had objectives in it. And so I was looking for more guidance there of what additionally you would want, because the way I kind of read that is develop a transparent, long-range financial plan, but then it goes into kind of those objectives like higher staff pay, facility maintenance, beautification, and considering students. So if it just said create a long-range financial plan, then those would be objectives that would be under it. So I'm fine with leaving that as is, and that would be the objectives, would be part of the goal. And if you feel there needs to be additional things, then we can discuss that. So I'll just take any questions you have about them.
Thank you. All of Dr. J's goals are based on the board's goals. And this is just his rough version. As he said, he'll take any questions or comments. This won't come back to the board until November 18th, or I'm sorry, November 15th, giving him a month to adjust anything that the board would like to see. So are there any questions or comments regarding his goals and objectives?
So I have quite a few comments. I appreciate all the hard work that you put into them. But I'm going to kind of go back to something that President Reed says frequently, that we're the what and he's the how. And I feel that we've given him what goals, and the objectives that he's given us back are also what's. There's not a lot that is measurable. And I was hoping, one of my complaints when we did your performance pay was that we didn't really have anything measurable. And I'd really like to see some measurable goals associated with the board goals.
Okay.
Lillian or Dana, do you have any comments or questions? Madison?
I do agree, it'd be nice to have measurable things. I appreciate that you put in exceeding state standards. I thought that was important. And I appreciate the thoughtfulness that went into this with breaking it down into objectives is underneath. So I guess the only encouragement would be maybe something that gives us kind of an idea of how these things will be done, because I think these are good things to implement.
I think it's kind of a mix. We have talked many times, Dana's brought it up before, that it's important to have measurable goals. So, that's exactly what Libya is echoing. Under number 2, like implementing the new schedules, it would be nice to see, like, we know how that is, how they've been implemented, how is there a way to measure like the outcome of that? Like, are we seeing, more students taking classes? Are the students leaving campus earlier, or are they actually taking advantage of having electives? So some data to go along with that would be nice. Same with you talked about the ACT classes. So obviously that will show, the test results that we get from that will show whether that goal is working or not. So, just different things like that. under number 4, where you had talked about that was the goal, or, excuse me, the objective, you know, is there a goal for teacher pay? Like, are we looking to increase teacher pay by 3%? You know, like, what are we looking to increase that by? What's our goal for that? So different things like that. I think that we could add some numbers to it, some data and some numbers. So, but otherwise, I think that your goals and objectives, are excellent. But I think that there are some standards that we can add in that would show that they were measurable.
Yeah.
So.
And typically what I do, and you saw, I think this last year, is when I review these goals at the end, kind of like when our teachers and administrators have their, you know, when they have their summative evaluation, they bring with them artifacts and ways that they have reached those goals. So that was my plan, is to bring, so when you look at something like the schedule, I would bring with you that, and I can already share this, that the number of kids taking online classes went from 200 and something down to, you know, last number I saw was 20s or 30s, right? So like, those are artifacts that I bring, but if you'd like what those artifacts will be, I can put that in there, but, you know, sometimes, some of these are a little bit harder to, you know, like growing your relationship with local partners. I mean, I could put how many times I met with them or something like that, but I think it's more evident in the way that you see the Rotary on campus and the Kiwanis offering free lunch to staff picnic and the chamber coming out and Nate being a part of the field. Like, those are ways that I would document that and show that we've reached that goal through those artifacts. So what I'll do is I'll find some that we can do that are measurable and then mix into there, like what artifacts that I plan to show that it's been completed.
Right, and like under number 2, like provide staff collaboration time for teachers to personalize students' educational needs, review data, and share best practices. So are you, you know, the goal is to have 1 week of collaboration time, 2, you know,
Sure.
like 1 hour a week, like, you know, how are you implementing that?
Yeah.
What's the plan?
Okay,
So.
all right.
Well,
Go ahead.
you can do it. So I appreciated what you were doing with our teacher performance and their evaluations, where we were going out to parents and students and asking them and having them give feedback on the staff performance. And I know that we used to have meet and confer, but we haven't had meet and confer, I feel like, since I've been on the board from here. I could be wrong, but just curious, like, if we look under that same recruit and retain on 5, you know, if we could create a questionnaire to be completed each quarter by site, measuring how teachers feel they were equipped with tools and knowledge to be effective, and increasing the staff indicating agree or strongly agree by X percentage every quarter. You know, I love your phrase of 1% better every day. And just seeing some percentages and some actual data, I think, from staff would be helpful.
I agree. I really liked when meet and confer would come. Do we have a president of well,
Paul,
is it Paul?
well, I mean, that's the last I was,
Yeah.
but
so-
we're not in that process yet, so that's something that we will be doing in the next couple of months, setting that up and getting started with it. But yeah, we did meet and confer through all of last year. You guys reviewed a few things on handbooks and things like that did go through meet and confer. So
Well, it was FHEA. It wasn't
Yes,
really
thank
meet and
you.
confer. It was FHEA that came. It was TJ, and TJ would come like every couple meetings, and he would give.
Okay, I'm saying, but we do
Right.
the meet and confer process, we're just not there yet. Yes,
Yeah.
and we have been already collecting data with our teachers this semester, this trimester, I should say. So
But is FHEA doing the surveys that TJ used to do, where he would send out
I have not
surveys?
seen anything from them, but we are, as a district, we are doing more of that this year.
Okay, so
To
yeah.
make sure that we know how our teachers feel, because again, we were able to increase that retention rate to 90% last year. We'd like to get it to 95 or higher next year. So, you know, that's a goal that we can put down in there, that we're trying to do that. And one of the ways we do that is by making ourselves available to our employees to be able to share their issues, concerns, and things like that. So we can make that a measurable thing.
Yeah, and like under staff retention, like you said, you had 90%, your next goal is 95%. So add a number to it, put some data and numbers to go along with it. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, Dr. J will have a month to work on this, and he'll bring it back to the board in November.
So will that be information and discussion? Can we do that for changes, or?
It can go under action item, and if we feel that there still needs to be more changes, we will table it and send it back. Thank you. Okay, future action, we still have the budget discussion and procurement. Libby had asked for a budget discussion and Madison for procurement, so just whenever we're ready to do that, what you're looking for, it'd be helpful if you sent that to Dr. J or to Krista so that we know what we're planning.
Hold on, okay. So you want like an outline of what I mean when I
Yeah,
talk
like
about
what you're
procurement?
looking to discuss during procurement, like who needs to be here, what the outcome is that you're looking for, so that we
Okay.
know if we need to get, a professional to come in and talk about it, or is it just a conversation with our finance team?
Okay.
Yeah,
That would have
and same
been
with
good
budget.
to know, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know, it's just, meetings have been packed, so, but now we're getting to the point where we can have these discussions.
Okay.
Dates of upcoming meetings, the next meeting is November 1st. There is some conflict, but I think it's okay. I will not be here. Unfortunately, I had a trip already scheduled when we changed the calendar to the 1st and the 3rd, so Dana will be running the meeting.
Which date was that? Sorry.
November 1st. Dr. J also will not be here because he already had a trip planned. But he is going to log in through Zoom. And unfortunately, Krista will not be here. But Jared will be here to make sure that the Zoom is working and that all the technology is working, and she can do the minutes from the video. So
we can't motion to change this meeting to a more,
Accommodating date?
yes, thank you.
we can.
Not tonight.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda. I mean, it's just on there as a date of a upcoming meeting.
Without being action item that we didn't have on the agenda.
So we can't do it.
But there's not a lot on the agenda, and so we didn't feel that there was a reason to change it. So
You mean there's not a lot on the agenda for the first?
for the first. Right. So,
I say we leave it.
The way I look at it is, I'm just here to answer questions you have, so whether I'm personally here or on Zoom, I don't think for me it's an issue, and again, I would like to be here, but I just
But if we-
change those dates, so.
if we don't have a quorum, then we have to postpone the meeting. So if you're not going to be here, we can postpone it too. So, just saying.
Give us a heads up,
Saying,
please.
If somebody's not going to be here, then, yeah.
Just if there's something for a vote, it probably is.
Yeah.
Well, do we already have the agenda ready for the first, that we can have it ahead of time to maybe send in questions so that there's not a lot of discussion that needs to take place?
Yes, I have what I have been working on, because like I've shared before, I have several, that I work with, but, we have our meeting on Monday with the agenda planning meeting.
Okay.
So, and I literally only have what were consent agenda items that I've now separated out. That's all I have on right
Okay.
So it's basically the enrollment, the payroll.
now. Yeah.
Well, enrollment's just information, but, so yeah, payroll, the payroll, the
Yeah.
donations, employment, so.
And we'll have support staff here to answer questions as well.
So, I don't anticipate being gone any more meetings, but I will be on that. Okay. If you'd like to see something on any of the upcoming agendas, please let us know. And with that,
I move we adjourn.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Would it be helpful if I shared them this morning as to what I
All